Welcome back to round 3 of our Stained Glass Symbols series here at Riverside United Methodist Church. In our previous video, we discussed the symbols of the Torah as revealed in our third stained glass window from the right side of the sanctuary. Now I'm on the left side of the sanctuary at the rearest window closest to the back of the sanctuary to discuss more symbolism from the Hebrew Bible. The first symbol is a very obvious one. It is the Ark of the Covenant. This sacred chest was given to Moses and constructed by the Israelites while they were in the wilderness. It was flanked by angels, seraphim we call them, and it housed the tablets of the Ten Commandments, the rod of Aaron, which blossomed with almonds as a sign of God's living presence amongst the people of Israel, and a jar of manna, the miraculous bread that God fed and gave to the people of Israel every morning for 40 years. The Ark of the Covenant was a sacred symbol of God's presence and God's provision and God's promise. When the people of Israel entered into the promised land, the land of Canaan, the Ark of the Covenant had a very interesting history. It was stolen by enemies. It was hidden for years. It was brought back to Israel in royal procession. Perhaps some of you can remember the story of Uzzah, who was struck dead while the Ark of the Covenant was being carried on an ox cart, and he reached out to keep it from falling, and God punished him by striking him dead. It's a very, very dramatic story. In the center of the window, we find the Lamb of God, the Agnus Dei, as it is often called in Latin and in the history of the church. The Lamb is a symbol of sacrifice, a symbol that maintains the covenant between God and God's people. Now, the author, John, in the New Testament, expanded upon this lamb image, particularly in the book of Revelation, as a symbol for Christ sacrificed and crucified in order to bring about a new covenant relationship with God. Finally, we're going back in biblical history to the book of Genesis, to Noah's Ark, a very different ark story. Again, a symbol of God's covenant. We find in that story not only one of God's salvation, saving Noah and his family and the representatives of the animal kingdom from the flood that destroyed all of creation, but we also find within it the symbol of the rainbow. God says, I have set my bow in the clouds and promise never to destroy the earth via a flood again. We call it the Noahic covenant. Now, oftentimes we think of just the rainbow as being a symbol of this promise, but really the image in Hebrew is God as a warrior setting the weapon of war, hanging up the weapon of war, hanging up the bow in the clouds, so as never to wage war on the earth again. It's a beautiful symbol, a symbol of covenant, symbols that God is faithful and always with us.